Hello there and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to be doing a review and a demo of the new palette by Natasha Denona, and it is her Bronze Palette. When I saw that this palette was coming out, I could not wait to get my hands on it. So I've been playing with this for about 2 weeks and have formed some thoughts and opinions on it. Now I'm sure you've probably seen at least one other video on this palette, but hopefully I'll be able to give you some new information. I will also share with you at the end some alternatives if you don't quite want to spend this kind of money on a palette. So as we get started up front here, I'm going to give you just some basics about the palette, show you some swatches, then we'll do a demo of this look, and then we'll finish out with actually my final thoughts. This palette has 15 shades and the total weight of this palette is 19.25 grams. It is the same size as her Sunrise and Love palette, but it's not quite as big as some of her bigger $129 palettes. So this one is a bargain at $65. Whoa, I know that's still super expensive. But as you look at this palette, there are some beautiful shades in here. There are 5 matte shadows, and then the other 10 have some level, it varies between shadows, but some level of sparkle and shimmer, and some are all out metallics. The formulation of these shadows is really nice. They're all very pigmented. As you see the swatches come up on the screen, there are several shadows in here that have a duochrome shift. So all that means is that as the light hits it, it will take on a slightly different tone. I will talk at the end of this video a little more about the color spectrum, but now let's go ahead and get into the demo of this look so you can see how these shadows perform, and then I will finish out this video and let you know if I think this is worth your money. All right, so I've already applied the Smashbox 24-hour eyeshadow primer. And now, if you look at the palette and you've seen any of my tutorials, you will know first off the one color that is missing for me personally, and that is a matte cream shade for my brow bone highlight. And even these shimmer shades are way too shimmery, too gold to really serve as a brow bone highlight color. So I'm gonna go into this Pixie palette. If you saw my June vlog, you know my best friend gave me this, and this has a wonderful cream, matte cream shade. I'm gonna use the Sigma E50 for this, and just place this under the brows. All right, now going back to the palette, the one thing that this palette does have is several great crease shades. So this shade right here called Beach, I'm gonna use this one. It just has a slight little bit more kind of a pink undertone. This one's more of a kind of camel color, and then this one is much more peach. So we're gonna go in with this one. I think this one's just a shade lighter, and I'm gonna use the BK Beauty, what is this? The 201, and I'm going to use this as the transition shade. So going in kind of the upper part of the crease up to the brow bone, or not quite to the brow bone, but blended into that brow bone highlight color. And this is a beautiful shade, very buildable, and I think provides just a really nice transition. Now on the BK Beauty 206, I'm going to go in first with this one. It's called Suntan. I'm going to use this in my crease. So just below where we placed that transition shade and into the corner. So I'm going to press my brush there. And then I'm going to, with kind of circular motions, bring this down towards the outer corner here a little bit. This is going to be predominantly through the crease, and then we'll darken the outer corner a little more. Going to add a little bit more here through the center of the crease here and going towards the inner corner a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to go back to the 201 brush and a little more of that first shade Beach, and just do this lightly around the edge. So that crease shade, it does blend out, but it does take a little effort. I think some of Natasha Denona's mattes, because they are quite pigmented, they can take a little extra work to blend out. All right, now I'm gonna stick with that same brush, the 206, and we're gonna go in now with Magma. And this is just a slightly more red version of the suntan color we used through the crease, and it's slightly deeper. And I do feel like this is a good outer corner color. It's not super dark, but we'll go in with a darker shade in a moment. Okay, so before darkening the outer lash line there, we're gonna go in with our lid shade. So there are some beautiful options for the lid color, all shimmery shades, and each one varies slightly, as you saw on the swatches, but I'm gonna go in first with this one. It's called Palladium, and this one, it is a shimmer, but it's not quite as chunky glitter. It doesn't have the chunky sparkle in it like some of the other shades do. And this one is a little more neutral, little cooler tone, kind of a taupey color. Really pretty, one of my favorites in the palette. Then I'm gonna go in with this shade right here, which is called High Degree, and it is a shimmery kind of red shade. Again, it doesn't have as much sparkle, just a little more on the metallic side, but so pretty. I'm just gonna use that between the outer corner and that lid shade, just as a little bit of a transition there. I'll go back with the 206, no extra product, and I always like to do this just right here in the crease above that shimmer, just so that there's not kind of this stark line there where the shimmer ends and the matte crease shades begin. All right, now I'm gonna go in with my favorite BK Beauty brush. This is the 204. It's kind of a smudger brush. And we're gonna go in with the shade Deep Dive. Even though it has kind of a satiny finish, it still works really well to darken the lash line and the outer corner. So I'm going to just press this into the lashes and work this into the outer corner here, and then just feather it into those dark brown shades. And even though it kind of looks like this shadow doesn't really go with everything else in the palette, I think it really works well. And then I'll take a little bit of that shade and bring it here kind of in the center of the upper lash line. And you can see I'm just flicking my brush out because I just want a little extra depth there in the lashes. And then I'm gonna go in with Magma again. And I don't think I told you that was Deep Dive, that dark color. Now I'm gonna go in with Magma over that, kind of in this inner part. And just kind of make sure that's really nice and diffused. All right, then one final step to finish off the upper lid, I'm gonna go back with just a tiny little bit more of Palladium. And I'm just going to press this here just to brighten up that part of the inner corner there. And I'm not taking this all the way into the inner corner because do something else there. On the lower lash line, I'm going to use the Pixie Endless Silky Eye Pen. It's a pencil. Still don't understand why they called it that, but anyway, this is the shade Black Cocoa, and I am just going to use a tiny little bit of this here, kind of smudge it into my lower lashes, and then I'll wipe off that smudge brush, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of Magma on this outer corner here, and then wipe off the brush, and I'm going to go in with a little bit of suntan on this inner part. And then if you need to, just add a little bit of Deep Dive, which is that dark kind of shimmery black color. Just gonna put a little bit there, and I'm going to clean up this edge in a moment. And I'm just cleaning up under the eye with a little bit of almond oil. And this is where I'm going to just sharpen up this outer corner slightly. All right, so I added my favorite trio of mascaras. I will link these in the description box below, along with everything else I'm using today. Now for cheeks, I'm going to go in with this Bare Minerals. This is one of their Gen Nude blushes in But First Coffee. I showed this to my best friend, and it just reminded me how much I love this blush. I'm gonna use the Morphe E4, and this is very pigmented. It's kind of in between a bronzer and a blush. It's almost like if your cheeks got a little sunburned mixed with your tan. So I think it's perfect for a bronze look. For highlighter, I'm going to use this one from the Balm. It's Bonnie Luminizer. If you've never seen packaging from the Balm, this is just adorable. But that aside, this is kind of a medium gold shade, and I'm going to use the MAC 140 fan brush. All right, and then if we go back and look at the palette one more time, you will know there's another shade that's missing for me personally, and that is a brighter shimmery inner corner highlight color. This one is just a little bit too gold for me personally. It would look pretty on kind of deeper skin tones. So I'm just gonna use a little bit of this highlighter, and I do love these from the Balm because you can also use them as eyeshadows. So I'm going to place this on the inner corner, and it's just a little bit brighter than the lid shade. I'll use a little more on my E30 from Sigma and just work that, blend that into the lid. And I might just want a touch brighter in the inner corner. So I'm gonna go into this Pixie palette, and this is my kind of inner corner highlight. So I'm just going to just tap that right in the center there and then blend that in. And then let's just round out the look with some lips. I'm gonna use the Urban Decay 1993 lip liner. And then for lip color, we're gonna go To the Beach. This is A La Plage from MAC. This is their limited edition bronze collection. One of my favorites. If it's still available, I'll link it below. So as you can tell, I fixed my hair, and I did film a hair tutorial, which I will link for you down below. But let's take a look at the finished makeup look here. And as I mentioned, as I was going through the eye tutorial portion, I do love this palette. You saw that the shadows are very pigmented, but it's missing a few key shadows that for me personally, I need to do a complete eye look. So it's missing that matte cream shade that I like to use under the brow bone, but I also feel like it's really missing a lighter shimmery shade. So that kind of light champagne or light gold color for the inner corner highlight, but that's also a color that you can use to kind of change up some of these other colors and kind of dilute them, and then therefore give you a few more different looks with this palette. I feel like there is overlap in some of these shimmer shades. So between these shades right here, when you apply them to the eyes, there's just a tiny little subtle difference. But for me personally, I would rather have a few more color options so that I could get more versatility from this palette. Now, it's good quality, as you saw, very pigmented, all of that, but if you're looking at this going, well, I like those shades, but I don't want so many of the similar shades, what's another option? Well, one of the best alternatives that I personally have in my collection, and I am guilty of not talking about this palette or using it as much as I should, and this is the Buxom Boss Babe Betty palette. Boy, I had to slow that one down, but take a look at these colors. This to me is what I wish Natasha would have kind of gone a little more for, because you have the matte cream shade, you have this light, very light pale shimmery gold, then you also have a really nice kind of neutral champagne color, but then you also still have those warm golds, warm kind of coppery shimmery shades, you've got these shimmery bronzes, but then you've got the matte really deep shade that you can use to darken your outer corner, and then this is actually a matte black. So it is missing that kind of shimmery blue duochrome that we have right here, but for me that's not a shade that I'm going to use a ton out of here anyway. So if you are looking at this color story saying, I do like bronzes, I do like browns, but I don't like the price tag and I want kind of more of a complete palette, this would be one I would recommend. Now, another option, if you don't like the price tag of this palette and you like a neutral look, but you don't feel like you need 15 shadows to get those kind of bronzy neutral look, go for the Natasha Denona Mini Nude Palette. I showed this in my June vlog, and then I returned it once I got this palette because those shades in that palette were so similar to ones that are in here. I did not feel like I needed both. And I do love this palette. I wanted to review it for you, so I returned the little mini one. But if you're somebody who says, I just like a few neutral shades, I don't need a whole palette, that would be another good option to check out. All right, so that wraps up this video. I hope that it was helpful for you. If you've seen the Natasha Denona palette and were curious, hopefully I answered a lot of questions you may have had about it. Or if you've picked it up, hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial. If you want to see more tutorials with this palette, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button below, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Bye.